supporter of what we're doing here in Idaho since we launched in 2023, and had known of him before that, but we've become friends. And Ryan, I always like to say, he flew in from London just for this event, and he really did. But not only that, Ryan has an extremely successful business right here in the Treasure Valley that he manages from England, actually, called Offer Now Idaho. And just a couple of stats on Ryan. He's originally an engineer, but now he's a full-blown entrepreneur, and he's completed over 500 off-market deals across Idaho and built a portfolio of 40-plus rental doors. As owner and CEO of Offer Now Idaho, he specializes in wholesaling, fix and flip, novations, and creative finance to unlock property potential. A lot of you have had the opportunity to hear him at one of our previous events. He's going to bring the fire like he always does, and good. Do we have is that your slides, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
We're all set.
Sorry, you can see behind me. Without further ado, here's Ryan Weimer, all the way from London.
Woo! Let's go. Where, oh where have all the deals gone? Who's heard of Offer Now Idaho before? Okay, so about half of us, maybe 2/3. All right, that's why we're all here, right? As investors, we want more deals. We want the best deals. So my goal in this presentation, I'm gonna go through kind of where we are now. Offer Now Idaho started in 2020, so we're just over exactly the 5-year mark, okay? So my goal here is to leave you feeling empowered, feeling unstuck to take massive action, because what I'm about to share, when I first saw it, blew my mind, truthfully, about the amount of opportunity out there. All right, a little bit about me. London, England. I live there with my beautiful wife and daughter. As John had mentioned, we've done over 500 off-market deals in the state of Idaho. Background in mechanical engineering, and I am the CEO and owner of Offer Now Idaho. We're up to 23 full-time team members. Hopefully we have some audio on the video. We'll see. There we go.
The thing that has stood out most to me with Offer Now Idaho.
All right, so that's a little bit about what we're about. My only ask today, we have a crazy, crazy mission. We're gonna help 1 million people in the next decade. So come see us at our booth. This is Chris over here. Chris, can you wave hello? He's our recruiting and marketing manager. We need A players to be a part of that mission. So if you know somebody that wants to be on our team, wants to be involved, just come see us, come talk to us. All right, I'm gonna play this funny little clip about what the ecosystem of off-market properties and flipping and investing appears to be from the outside.
You are making $500,000 and you're only going to pay me 30? You're getting 30 grand? I'm getting 1,000. You guys are getting paid?
That's the stigma that this ecosystem, this food chain of off-market properties have, right? But let's define what is wholesaling. Wholesaling is just an exit strategy. What wholesaling really is the art of finding discounted properties. It's not assigning properties to a flipper every single time, okay? And if there's one thing you take away from this presentation and one thing you take away today, he who has the deals makes the rules. The best part about real estate investing is there's so many ways to make money. The worst part about real estate investing is there's so many ways to make money. It all starts with the deal. You can't do flipping, you can't do commercial, you can't do a listing. You can't do anything without the deal, okay? So here's a little business breakdown of where we're at now, and then I'm gonna rewind, so bear with me on all the struggle that got to this point. So we're roughly, 1/3 of our deals are assignments or wholesales, 1/3 are novations, about 20% are creative finance or rentals, and about 16% are flips. Those are our year-to-date numbers right now. We have 17 full-time employees, about half of which are located here in Boise, the other half are virtual, 6 full-time virtual assistants, and what I'm most proud of is we cash fulfillment paychecks. We don't cash just financial paychecks. The people that you heard on that video, their conviction and buy-in to what we're doing is because we get a level of fulfillment every single day from what we do by helping others. And we're so serious about it, it's actually something we track. So we did about 134 deals, contracts signed in 2024. We're already at 140 in 2025, and you can see this graph over time that illustrates that. But this is why. I got a laser on here. Yeah, there we go. This is at the top of our team's Salesforce dashboard every single day, is tracking number of people that we help. Why? Well, when you help more people, you get more deals. Go figure, right? So the problem is most of our competition and a lot of people in the off-market space, the reason wholesalers get a bad rap is because they lowball. They send out like 300 lowball cash offers and hope that 1 or 2 people accept, right? That is the complete opposite way to go about it, okay? By helping others, we just did our biggest quarter ever. We did just over 1.6 million in off-market deal profit at an average deal size of 43,000. That doesn't happen by accident, just in the last quarter. And my biggest thing that I've learned coming to this point is we drastically underestimate the amount of work, time, and effort that it takes to get to a level like this, but we also drastically underestimate the upside. Big time, big time. We have no frame of reference, okay? And the coolest part, yes, financial freedom is great, and living in London is great, and whatever, awesome. But impact is way more meaningful than money to me. That's why we have an employee discounted homebuyer program. Like you heard in the video, every X amount of dollars that they generate in sales, they get a Weimer coin, and they get to exchange that Weimer coin to buy a discounted property that we already have under contract. So this is a discounted property that they get to buy at an additional employee discount. Not a bad 401k program, right? All right, here's the problem. Don't be this person. I've been this person before. I went to an event, I got super hyped up, I felt a bunch of energy and motivation, and then I left and did nothing. Don't be the 99% of people that leave here and do nothing. That's supposed to be triggering, right? Don't do that. Be the 1% that does something, because most people think they have a knowledge gap, and really that just leads to procrastination. Go take massive action. Go fail your way forward. Let's talk about some of those epic failures. Let's get into it. Okay, mechanical engineer, grew up in a W-2 family, played college football. I knew nothing about sales. I knew absolutely nothing about real estate, okay? I had a sweet job in downtown Denver. After my engineering degree, I was making $65K as a 22-year-old. I was like, I have it made. This is it, right? Until I got laid off a year and a half in. What? I went to school for 5 years and then got laid off. Are you kidding me? It's not supposed to happen like that. So I did what any normal young person does when they're trying to rediscover themselves, and I moved cold turkey to San Diego without a job. I couch surfed for about 4 months before I got my next engineering job. And man, I upgraded in a pretty significant way. It was such a cool job. It was in the semiconductor space. I was traveling all over the world. They were like, Ryan, we need you to hop on a flight tomorrow and go to South Korea and work on a laser system at Samsung for 6 weeks. And I was like, sure, why not? Send me, right? And that was really cool for a few years until it wasn't. And that started to get draining, not having like a real life and then getting passed up for a promotion. I was like, okay, I've been laid off once. I don't really feel valued here. I am not in control. That's when I found real estate. It was really pain that led me to real estate and taking control of my life. And it started with a base hit while I was an engineer. This was the very first rental property we bought in 2019, 6 years ago. Just a base hit, a property that needed a little bit of work, $207,000 for a single family in Boise. Wow, have times changed. Crazy. But that's what it was. Actually, with Idaho REI member Corby Goad. That was our first deal. So pretty cool stuff. And now, the best thing about real estate is time, right? Now it's worth over double. And COVID helped a lot with that, we'll talk about in a second. Who here has seen Rocky, boxing movie? Okay, show of hands, okay. So there's the cut when he's like training for the fight and he's got to lose a bunch of weight and he's got to get into shape, right? So this was my Rocky cut scene. And the problem with the Rocky cut scene in the movie is it lasts 30 seconds. But in real life, it lasts years. So I started cold calling on nights, weekends, lunchtime at my engineering job. Anything I could do, I discovered, wait a minute, if I go direct to seller and I find people with problems that I can solve, I can get way better deals. Because I'm solving a problem, and the bigger the problem that I solve, the bigger discount I can get on the property, right? Man, cold calling was rough. I had negative sales skills. I was shaking, I was nervous, I was sweating, but I just did it anyways. My first day I made maybe 2 calls. The next day I made 5. And I would get to 450 no's to get my first contract. That was my first off-market deal. And I wrote this down every single day in affirmation, I'll be a millionaire by age 30, because that's what kept me going to go through all that rejection and pain. And then I started writing yellow letters while I was on my cold calling dialer at the same time. And you can write a lot of yellow letters on a 13-hour flight to Taiwan, let me tell you. Even though everybody next to you thinks you are absolutely insane, okay? But then that big light bulb moment, that my first off-market deal, a cold call lead, it didn't matter if it was $11,000 or $1. When that hit my bank account, my life changed, because it was proof of concept that I could generate money outside of a W-2 job. And I had no idea what I was doing. I backed into this thing. I was on a tax delinquent list. I talked to them. They were like, yes, we need to sell. We can't keep up with the taxes. We need to sell really fast. We're going to lose this thing to tax auction. And I thought, well, I don't know what the heck this thing is worth. Let me call the neighbors. Sure enough, one neighbor answered, and I was like, well, what do you think you would pay for this thing? And he told me a number, and I was like, great. I went back to the owner, and I was like, what would you let this thing go for? And there was a delta there. And that's how I backed into my first deal. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just took massive action. Just a dinky, skinny little piece of land. And this is what keeps you going. So whatever you're doing right now, you have to chunk down into the small wins. The result at the end is just the culmination of all the things that you're doing, all those micro wins along the way. So I'm just going to read this one in the middle. If it wasn't for these men, I would have never known my house was on an auction site. Think about that. Somebody didn't know they were about to lose their property to auction. I was able to get those things straightened out and able to save my home. They were a godsend and are very much appreciated by me. I don't know where I would be if not for them notifying me. We cold called this lady. We helped her keep her home. We made $0. But what did that do to my fulfillment bucket? That's how you do more off-market deals. You go in with a service mindset and you go in genuinely wanting to help and add value to others. That's the secret. That's what most people aren't willing to do. They're not willing to pay this long-term game. And guess what? You think if she runs into problems again or she knows people that are going through anything, who do you think she's going to call? It's going to be us. So you have to have these little small wins along the way to put up with all the rejection that you're going to face in the off-market space. And fast forward 3 years of doing the engineering job, cold calling nights, weekends, and lunchtime, I was finally able to quit my job and replace my full-time income. And believe me, I could not quit my engineering job. I had golden handcuffs until I replaced my full amount of income. And man, did that give me clarity. So much so that within 3 years, I had already signed 30 rental doors. The hockey stick effect was absolutely nuts. It was absolutely nuts. And I was a genius, right? This was 2021. This is insane, guys. I just pulled this up the other day to remind myself. From 2017 to 2022, Idaho had 121% price appreciation. What? That is not normal. So I thought I was a genius. Turns out everybody with a pulse was good at real estate investing during this time period. I was not a special snowflake. So that was the end of my Rocky cutscene, right? All good. Nope. What happened in 2022? Interest rates doubled in a matter of like 2 months, right? May, June 2022. And all of a sudden, we hit an affordability ceiling in Boise and many markets around the country, and I started seeing headlines like this. Boise is in one of the biggest housing bubbles in America. Wow, there's some clickbait. Nice. Boise led the nation in listings with a price reduction. 7 out of 10 listings had a price reduction during that time period. Not only that, an epic failure of colossal proportions. I took on a 12-unit new build multifamily deal because I was a genius, right? I couldn't go wrong. And I had a contractor flee the state. He didn't build any of it to fire code. The project got shut down, and it cost me over $1 million in damages, $1 million in cash that I didn't have. If you want to learn more about that, you can watch this on YouTube with Steve Trang. I did a full interview about what happened, but it was totally my fault. Man, that was such a gut punch. Such a gut punch. Felt like everything that I had worked for, I totally lost because of one stupid decision. Was doing way too many things at once. Sure, I'm really good at finding off-market deals. I'm probably also good at development. Wrong. The things we tell ourselves, right? It's just our ego talking. And I think that's just based on my own experience, that's why most people fail. It's this shiny object syndrome, like we talked about before. The best part about real estate is there's so many ways to make money. It's also the worst part. You gotta stay focused. So this is the part of the presentation now where I go a little bit tactical and into the data. I am an engineer, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Who's all heard any of these before? Not enough deals, too saturated, too competitive. I don't have any money, I'm too late, I missed all the upside. This is a deal killer. Like the lies that you tell yourself, because they're comfortable, they prevent you from taking action. So for a while, when I first found out about wholesaling and sourcing off-market deals, I thought it was a total lie. I was like, why in the world would somebody ever sell a property at a discount? I don't understand. I would never do that. Why would they do that? Well, why does CarMax exist? They don't pay Kelley Blue Book value, right? People go to CarMax to trade equity for ease and convenience all the time. It's the same thing with properties. It's the same. We pay for speed and convenience with all different kinds of things in our life, right? For some reason with a property, it's a little bit harder to understand. But this is where you're gonna get really triggered, because I got big time triggered when I saw this, okay? Because when you've been lead generating in the state for 5 years, you get a database with a crap load of leads. In March, we added an AI tool into our system that tells us how many deals we're missing out on, meaning how many people in our database are selling to other people other than us. Because we haven't talked to them in 6 months, something in their situation changed, whatever the case is. Just since March, 568 people in our database sold to somebody else. These are people that at one time, these aren't everybody, this is just people in our database that we know about that at one time responded to us or reached out to us and said, I'm thinking about selling a property. Just since March, guys, 568. At an average deal size historically of 33,000, which this quarter was an anomaly, but right around 33,000, that's $18 million in leads in revenue that we missed. $18 million. What? Just of what we know about. So there's about 200,000 plus or minus housing units just in the Treasure Valley. We've only got just over 13,000 leads in our database. Just a small fraction of the pie is in our database. And we're losing that many deals and that much revenue. Almost 10% of our database is not even contacted.
At Offer Now Idaho, we're looking to hire A players to run our organization and help us grow our business.
Absolutely. And it's not going to be easy, but what in life is? You can choose your hard, you can choose to be poor, you can choose to be rich. They're both hard. Would you rather work for a company that has your best interests in mind and wants to push you to be the best version of yourself? Where you actually can give back to the community and have a tangible impact in people's lives? You know, our motto is providing freedom to our team members, our community, and ourselves through real estate.
The whole reason Offer Now Idaho was created, I was a mechanical engineer, and I was just a cog in the wheel. At the end of the day, I was just a number. I got laid off once. I got passed up for a promotion multiple times, even though I was already doing half of the role plus my own. I wanted to be able to control my own destiny and impact others around me without having the handcuffs of a corporation and deal with corporate politics. Getting passed up for that promotion, already doing the work, I remember just feeling, am I really going to do this for the next 30 years of my life? I need to start taking control now. I need to go start something. I need to go build something that will attract other like-minded people that are seeking that, the ability to work remote, right? That want to be able to have an unlimited ceiling on what they can earn. And the results that they get have a direct impact on what they get compensated. You can't get that in a corporate job. Right now, we have a $3,000 referral program. If you know somebody that's looking for a new role, we will pay you $3,000 once that person is hired by us and they hit their 90-day mark. So if you know of anybody that's looking for a new job or looking to change their life, shoot me a DM at RealRyanWeimer on Instagram.
Let's get it.
Think about that. We paid for the lead, somebody reached out to us, whatever, and we're not even contacting 10% of our database. That's why when people are like, hey guys, hey Ryan, are you thinking about adding a second market or a third market? I'm like, we haven't even talked to over 1,000 people. Like, I have no need to do that. There is so much opportunity here. And before I actually had this data to prove it from our sales force, from our system with technology, it was all euphoric. I used to hear people say that and I would never really believe it, but the data shows it. And so for people that, whether you're doing your first deal or your 100th deal, finding off-market deals really comes down to three things, right? It's lead generation, who to talk to, conversion, getting that property under contract, and then what are you going to do with it once you have it under contract? Are you going to flip it? Are you going to wholesale it? Are you going to do a rental? And this top one, lead generation, is where everybody gets stuck just because they completely underestimate how many leads that it takes to get a deal. And so let's talk a little bit about, just at a basic level, about the difference between leads, inbound and outbound. So you can do outbound, you can do cold calling, texting, emails, agent outreach. It doesn't matter what it is. Low cost, high time, right? Doesn't cost you much, but you better have some time to put into that. Inbound, it's going to cost you a lot of money. TV ads, pay-per-click, pay-per-lead, direct mail, high financial cost. You better have some skill to know what to do when people call you, or else you're going to be burning money. You won't know how to convert those leads. But there's a lot of time savings there too, right? People are reaching out to you. And I always get asked this, so I had to include it in the presentation. The must-hits for lists. If you're just starting out, these are the lists you got to hit. Driving for dollars, drive around in your neighborhood. When you actually pay attention to the number of properties that have deferred maintenance, junk cars in the driveway, overgrown lawns, it is staggering. There's a lot of people in some level of distress. Note those properties, door knock them, send them a mailer, call them, text them, whatever you got to do. County lists, all these are public record. Pre-foreclosures, tax delinquent, code violations, tons of lists. How I got started, one of my favorites, Zillow for rent. Somebody has a property listed for rent. I look for the ones that aren't a property manager, like a mom and pop landlord, and I call them and say, hey, I know your property was listed for rent, but have you ever considered selling it? It's a free lead source, just costs you your time. Expired listings, PropStream, PropWire. We even get full data lists from our title company and sort them that way. So just a couple things to wrap up here, some crazy deals that we've done, because initially, right, when you hear people talk about insane deals, you're like, oh yeah, but that's the one they're going to talk about, and that's not reality. Well, when you put up enough time, effort, and energy over a consistent period of time, you get a life-changing deal once a quarter, not once in a lifetime. So this is one we had. This guy was stuck on a price. He had to get his number, so a cash offer wouldn't work. It was too low. It didn't matter how he got it. He was stuck on a price. He was stuck on a number. He didn't care. So we said, great. We'll pay you $100 a month at 0% interest for how long? 202 years. This is a real deal. He didn't care. He had a number in his head that he was stuck on that he wanted to get. Didn't matter how he got there. Life-changing deal. You cannot help but make money on a deal like this, okay? Another one, a fourplex. This is a cash deal. Cold call. Purchase price $600, as is value $900 to $925. This guy, he had a bunch of legal drama, super sad situation. His kids were suing him because they found out that some of their trust was going somewhere else and he was going to use the money elsewhere. Really sad situation. So he wanted to offload a few of these before that lawsuit came into full swing. So all kinds of motivation, right? Not something that, again, if we put ourselves in the seller's head, we're going to tell ourselves that deals aren't out there and people don't sell properties at a discount. But it happens all the time. People will always trade equity for ease and convenience. We just have to find them. That's the game, is finding them. And my last slide here, this is where people get stuck in the off-market world, or really with any business, is level 3. Personally, I absolutely hate this. Working on your business to in your business, working in your business to on your business. Like, that is such a sexy, it's not real. If you want to build something worth having, if you want to build something exceptional, it's not real. You do both. The answer is both. So level 3, the reason why people get stuck is you have a skill of, okay, I know how to talk to leads now, maybe I know how to do a deal or two. And then you have to completely level up your skill set in hiring, training, managing, leadership. I didn't know anything about hiring. Are you kidding me? That's why it was a disaster for like 3 years. That's why it was so horrible. So that's why people, you get stuck at level 3 for so long, because you're having to completely relearn a new skill set. And so what is it really costing you to not do this? That's the question. Don't leave here. Don't be the 99% of people that leave here and don't take massive action. Because I promise you, there is not a lack of opportunity here. There is more opportunity than any one person could ever imagine. And the data shows it. That's all I got.
Awesome, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Ryan. I know, questions, right? Again, this is something, I know where to find Ryan, and we're gonna be doing more virtual member calls in 2026, and so, Ryan, would you be able to expand on some of this stuff on a
100%.
virtual call, Q1?
Anytime, yeah.
Okay, thank you, yeah, get on that call, ask your questions, and Ryan's readily available on social media too. He's a kick to follow, actually, so I appreciate that.